Hey everyone, how we doing? Welcome back to Sunless Skies. I haven't a clue where we're going for this episode, but let's give it a shot, eh? Please tell me we have found ourselves a place to go. No. You know it would be a mighty shame to die now, while we're so young and vibrant and full of spunk. If we wanted a serving of spunk, we could just go to our local priest. Oh boy. It's so bad. My apologies to all the victims of child molestation perpetrated by your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the Catholic Church. It's a horrible thing. What the fuck? Fire. Okay. Onwards, then. The House of Hughes. Oh, we did it. That scared me. Ooh. Ooh. Well, I'm glad that you're untroubled. My nightmares are of a one-eyed fishmonger, of the one-eyed snake. The Palace Pier at Worlebury-Juxta-Mare. Workers in neat uniforms guide your locomotive to rest. Tourist engines rest alongside trading engines, crews trade gossip and delicacies. Signs in block capitals make abundantly clear that this is a place for pleasure. Welcome to Worlebury-Juxta-Mare. Worlebury-Juxta-Mare dazzles like a Fabergé egg, lamplit, rich brass and Britain in Baroque. In the distance, carnival music mixes with faint cheering. A queue twists and snarls along the dock. Visitors are not allowed to just stroll into the port. They must be admitted. Every fortnight, the Bureau of Entertainment holds a lottery to give out a number of paupers' passes, which grant free admittance. The queue for these is long, but it's not the only way into the port. Bypass the queue at the insistence of the authorities. A fox-jawed man smartly dressed in a cobalt takes notice of you. He crooks a finger.
First time visiting Worlebury-Juxta-Mare, eh? Come on, come over here then.
Okay. Thank you. The representative of the Bureau of Entertainments introduces himself.
We are a department of the Ministry of Public Decency, but we're entirely autonomous. We run this port for the benefit of wearied travellers.
He leads you past a queue that doesn't even bother to grumble.
Yes, I know. Queue jumping is terribly uncouth. But would you really rather be mingling with the proletariat when you could be enjoying our port?
And I'm sure once you've seen what we have to offer, you'll need to come back again. He leads you into a fitting station. Everyone goes through this. There's a dress code. Clothes for the promenade. The courtier is exquisitely attired. Burgundy tailcoat, cravat, brocaded vest in iron and ink, breeches, boots, and a smile like a shark, and words that aren't even part of the English language. They're all making an appearance. Periodically, he checks a brass pocket watch, while his grin lengthens and diminishes in turns. He's here to supervise the attire of new visitors to the work port. In Worlebury, everyone dresses up in the heady styles of 50 years ago. The Bureau of Entertainments provides suitable attire for all visitors. What article of clothing are you going to base your choice of outfit around? Your choice of outfit has no impact. Oh. Receive an explanation. The courtier flicks a glance at you.
I'm sure you know this spiel, but I'm obliged to repeat it.
In a droll voice, the courtier, who could be anywhere between 17 and 39, explains,
Worlebury-Juxta-Mare is the perfect holiday destination, enhanced by visitor adherence to the dress code. Do not fear, it is all to enhance the experience you have while with us. In addition, and as reassurance about the stringless nature of our generosity, I should inform you, Miss Corrosive, and will eat through your regular garments. We provide access to a full wardrobe of coats, waistcoats, frock coats, dresses, dress shirts, breeches, boots, bustiers, and more. To ensure your own remain intact, we love to see familiar faces. It wouldn't do to put you off. Now pick one item and I'll choose you an outfit that suits you. Well, there's nothing wrong with this place, just the fact that it's corrosive and it'll strip you naked. A dress shirt, why not both? Awaiting your attention are armoires, heaving with lace and leather, silk and cashmere, everything that had ever elicited the envy of another. The couture deploys two gangly youths, both pale with eyes like the death of the day, sunset colours to complement their uniforms.
I hope you won't mistake this for a common establishment.
That's terrible. It's a terrible voice. Because the rest of my voices are so good, you know. I hope you won't mistake this for a common establishment, nurse. Wear anything you want. There are no rules here. No matter what you do, it feels like the couture's assistants are there first, whisking your pics away to resize for your frame. They tug and tease at collars, lace up corsets with grace, adjust folds and hems so that every angle cuts like a cruel word. When you finally dismiss the youths, the couturer considers you for a long moment. He turns to a wardrobe and hands you several garments, all your size. Once you are dressed, he dismisses you, shooing you into Worlebury-Juxta-Mare. Imagine how fun this place would be. Eh? You get to go on carnival rides, and at 12:30 you're all stripped naked. Doesn't that just sound endearing? Explore a tiny lane bedecked with shops. A babble of shops and stalls sears the gaze with bold mismatched colours. Here is a path to the beach. Oh no, it's us. The only thing terrifying about us was how bad it was. Ew. Here is a path to the beach. No trip to Worlebury is complete without a jaunt along the beach. You should stroll down to the shore, where the mists await in glittering coils. Wander onwards. Nothing here catches your eye. Or leave the dock and get fuck all. Explore a tiny lane. The House of Hugh might be a jewellery store, or it may instead be where one purchases men named Hugh. It is hard to say. Inside it is quiet as a museum, and there are gorgeous men relaxed in roped-off areas, drenched in jewellery. It is not worth risking the scandal. You gab with a pink-cheeked mother instead. Consider the strangeness of the lanes. The lanes do not appear as advertised, but of all their sins, that one is the least phantasmagoric. Okay. Oh, it's a success story. It's most likely that smiles, maybe. Carnivore expressions, syrupy and gleaming, faultless mirrors of the couture's dazzling grin, or maybe it is the second-rate souvenirs cobbled from haberdashery and children's nightmares. The arsenic aftertaste of the candy floss, the wine-wild quality of the local perfumes, could be anything. Could just be your insecurities, the error of your existence. So true, man, so true. That cuts me deep. Whatever the case, the lanes continue their watch. Politely, of course. Succumb to the wiles of a rubbery lumps cellar. That does not sound great. A wax paper cone brimming with rubbery lumps sounds just about perfect. It tastes precisely as advertised. Hot, rubbery, faintly sweet, with a dashing of mirin and brown sugar, and an aftertaste reminiscent of roasted berries, like a memory of better days. You graze on a palmful of lumps before you put the rest away. Here is a path to the beach. So, we're going to the beach, boys. It's going to be a nudist beach in just a minute. This is a beach. Of course, it is a beach. What else could it be? It is a stretch of pale particulates and roiling mists. The air smells of salt and things that mummified in the sun, of cinnamon and licorice. It is pebbles and grains of blue glass, tendrils of something curious and organic, worm-like growths tufting through the sediment. This is exactly what beaches are. I'm gonna go dipping in the sea, if that's what they call it here in wherever we are. Ah, the most adventurous of pursuits,
a dip into the mists of Worlebury-Juxta-Mare. It'll ruin your clothes, but sacrifices must be made. Precarious descent. You are lowered into the mists, a rope around your waist.
If it kicks up a fuss, just kick it in the face a few times. You'll be fine.
Wait, what was that he said? The mists tickle. You paddle listlessly through their depths, breathing in the candy sweet. This is really quite pleasant. Leave swiftly. Cold frissons tickle down your spine, dragging your attention southwards. Oh dear, your clothes are in tatters. The shame. Your beautiful garments are nothing but rags now. Well-dressed onlookers gawk and giggle, whisper and point. It ain't that small. Get off your high horses. You look bedraggled, shabby, and, worst of all, unfashionable. Ooh. Gain admittance by supplying the port authorities. People will keep pilfering the cups for mementos. Replacing them is a constant chore. If you help the Bureau of Entertainments out, they'll slide you in past the queue. There you go, poppets. As soon as you've handed over your goods, the official clicks his fingers. Workers from the Bureau of Entertainments quickly commandeers your attention. A man and a woman appearing on each side, both exquisitely dressed, their smiles well-whetted knives.
Come already. The couture doesn't like waiting. You need an outfit. Come.
That's what she said. A hat. Oh no, if this goes, they'll see through my facade. A hat? What a dizzying cornucopia of grotesquely perfect millinery. London would weep in envy. The couture summons a pair of pale children, their stained glass eyes a palette of emerald golds.
They'll help you with anything you need, nurse. No favours too big, too terrible. I'd ask that you don't request a bladder as a hat, however.
I hate training new help. His assistants are as attentive as they are silent. Reverently, they offer possibilities in flattering headgear, fascinators, bowlers, top hats, even veils filigreed with milky blue seed pearls and roses the red of a broken heart. When you finally dismiss the children, the couture considers you for a long moment. He turns out to a wardrobe and hands you several garments, all your size. Once you are dressed in a hat, he dismisses you, shooing you into the Worlebury-Juxta-Mare. My clothes are in you. Whoa. I guess... Should we go to the beach? Nope. Wander onwards. Nothing here catches your eye. Worlebury-Juxta-Mare is precisely like every other weekend destination. It strips you naked and fucks you in the ass and takes all your money. Shabbier than advertised and bristling with ways to spend more money than intended. Stop at a charming tea room. Tea is always a good idea. In a universe of horrors, tea is never wrong. The tea placed in front of you might instead be cooked oatmeal, if not for the stray insect wings and limbs poking out here and there. When you point this out to the waitress, she merely shrugs and explains that it's a tisane. It appears traditional for patrons here to abscond with a piece of crockery, a mug, a delicate teacup, a saucer, whatever best reminds them of the tea room. As such, you do the same. No reason to be impolite. Oh, well, looks like we're going to the beach again, boys. Don't you love holidays? 3 days in your room, 4 days at the beach and home. Looks like we're just gonna stand for Parliament. This is... Oh, we did it! What bosses we are. I was thinking some pro-life policies. The election is cold. At least a few of the people bother going to the polls. The votes are in. Lord Bastard scraps together a personal best. 5 votes! An ambitious drunken sailor passes out before their votes are even announced. You wait for your name to be called out. Sure enough, the people chose well. To a smattering of applause from the handful of public who bothered to show up and vote, you rise from your chair to take your destiny. Accept your new role with grace. Why would we do that? Do we want to be the true alpha and the ultimate dick, or be condescending and just be even more of a dick? Well, we're getting into politics, right? So we've got to feign that we're a good person. Snake tongue them. Congratulate your defeated opponents. Take on your new role with the dignity that it demands. Presenting the honourable member. You've done it. Time to prepare for government. Hey, we did it, folks. I don't know what we did, but we did it. 250 gold to come back to this expensive shithole. You know, I think I'll pass. Let's get out of here while we still can. Perhaps visit a place that's a bit less expensive, you know. Has it found a port? No. Then I don't want to hear about it. Has it found YouTube fame and fat money? Yeah, it has. On Twitch. Here lies Big Ben. Big Ben, a surprisingly common name for one's penis. Excuse me. So you must be here about the pro-life policies. Well, I'm sorry we couldn't help you. Or your child. Let's go do some house cleaning. Look, I've never been into Parliament in this game. Enter the House of Commons. A pair of particularly tough claymen guard the entrance. They never blink. Only ministers and MPs are permitted through this entrance. The wheels of government continue to turn, but its halls have seen better days, mostly green-tinged from decades submerged in the stolen river, during that unusual historical interlude when London was stolen by bats. Water still drips from the unseen reservoirs of damp. Even so, the house remains a hive of favoured trading, drinks promising and constant debate. Take over the Department for Albion Affairs. A loquacious civil servant strides up to greet you. Ah, Minister, right on time. The Department of Albion Affairs. The loquacious civil servant glides through the labyrinthine house with an ease it took a career to acquire. This way, Minister, do step over the drunks in the hall. Journalists, you know, old habits die hard. Ah, here we go, your new dominion. He pushes open the door. Your new department's carpeted floors squishes underfoot. Almost nobody glances up as you enter. You are, after all, just the next minister in a long chain of distractions to their work. The Department of Albion Affairs is a windowless, airless place at the top of many staircases. Outside your tiny office, a small regiment of clerks led by a loquacious civil servant busies himself with reports and paperwork, then carefully files it away in an elaborate system designed to ensure nobody ever sees any of it again. Well, well, well. When I booted up Sunless Skies to become a skyfaring Z captain, you know what I wanted to do? Desk work and politics. Visit the first secretary. As first among equals, he knows more about Parliament than anyone, a useful font of information. He sits at a huge mahogany desk in prestigious Downing corridor. Your conversation doesn't distract him from writing notes in the margins of endless pieces of paperwork. He pauses his scribbling only to sip from a large cup of stone-cold tea, or to scratch his head with the pen's long silver nib. Ask about the state of Parliament. Where is the Prime Minister? Shouldn't they be running things? A sharp intake of breath.
Very good question, Minister. Unfortunately, our illustrious leader decided it would be a better use of his time to take a boat into the flooded cellars, where the wine is, you know. I'm not sure how many bottles are there, simply awaiting in net, but they say that the deeper you go, the finer the vintages that one might find. I suppose I should send a search party when time permits. Until then, I really must finish this paperwork.
Ask about the political situation. Nobody seems to have any party affiliations here. A regretful sigh.
Ah, you noticed. Yes, these days Parliament is split along rather less productive lines. We have the Committee for Radical Sovereignty, devoted to finding ever more inventive ways to cling to the Empress' mighty skirts. The Subcommittee for Public Restoration would be as happy to see her gone, but has yet to come up with any workable plan. Finally, the Select Committee for the Chiltern Hundreds like things as they are. With all three pulling their own direction, it is no surprise that little gets done around here. He pauses. You may have wondered why I was so eager to bring some new blood into our little family. To wit, yourself. I trust now you have an inkling. Oh, don't pin your hopes on me, man. Like, as soon as I'm done with this place, I'm not coming back. Ask him about himself. What is his role in the parliamentary system? When all else fails, just get them to talk about themselves. Primus inter pares. That is pig Latin if I've ever heard it. Primus inter pares. Minister, I am but a humble functionary. It was my proud duty to serve the elected Prime Minister in an administrative capacity, and as and when we are able to conduct an election, I trust it will be my privilege to continue his successor. Until then, my focus is on restoring this once august establishment to greatness, even if it means dragging Albion kicking and screaming back to the troublesome necessities of democratic process. Good ambitions. Return to the House of Commons. You have much to be getting on with. Explore Parliament. You have full access to the House of Commons now, and all its amenities. A faded empire. Parliament's green-stained halls are hardly what they used to be. 40 years ago, when the bats dragged London deep beneath the earth, its new cloaked masters stripped the place of its gold and finery. Only the two houses themselves, the Commons and the Lords, have been properly refurnished. Everything else makes do. The journalistic lobby has set up a basic printing press in the estranged bar, with the new ministries established in any spare room or corridor. Occasionally, between the drinks and debates, some work gets done. Consult the loquacious civil servant. What is your role here exactly? Oh my god, this is the short version. Audience retention just dropped to 0. Minister, the traditional vocation of both this office and one in your esteemed position is to take upon the duty and indeed burden of establishing and integrating new legislation of a beneficial yet cost-effective nature for the pan-Albion citizenry, with a twin focus on problem elimination and controversy avoidance paradigms. The greater efficiency we demonstrated this on at least a prima facie basis, the greatest slice of this budgetary pie will be allocated to our department, and the greater parliamentary status you personally, Minister, shall enjoy. With ascendancy comes reward, minor ones, as the ministerial salaries are currently primarily a barter-based economy for beverages of noted alcoholic forms due to a most regrettable budget shortfall in non-functionary related positions that are typically compensated through prestige. However, he adds, less than enthusiastically, I do understand that parliamentary envoys at Her Renewed Majesty's most celebrated throne enjoy some budgetary flexibility to reward completed law-related projects in gratitude for the demonstration of their continued purpose and presence at the moderate to highest levels of government. Oh! He smiles a thin, tight smile. I believe that covers the basics. I can give you the longer version if you would prefer. Kill me. Make a new law. Time to get the business of government. Let's go pro-life. You think I was joking? Why would I be joking about that? The political machine. It is Monday. The week begins with endless meetings. You are spared the most tedious of them. The loquacious civil servant explains that in matters of government policy, ministers tend to be more of an unfortunate necessity than a boon. The loquacious civil servant consults the latest opinion polls. This is indeed a courageous law. He comments in a tone usually saved for a particularly unfortunate eulogy. Deliver a stirring speech in the House. Dig up dirt on a rival MP. Ooh, 100%. Ooh. Ain't nothing gonna go wrong with that. Scare the House with a tale of terror. Your president will be Donald Trump. Ayo, political jokes. We haven't heard enough of them already, huh, Jimmy Kimmel?
Get that man to host the Oscars. Deliver a stirring speech in the House. You will convince them in advance that this bill should be law. The House rocks with applause. You appeal to their patriotism, you stir their souls, you paint them a picture of a better world. Where necessary, you even talk about the actual bill. Current polls indicate your bill has no support. The political machine grinds on. Current polls indicate that only a tenth of Parliament supports your bill. That's conflicting information. Attempt to clear out the competition. If your opponents don't make the vote, it's hardly your fault. Call upon the chief whip. They say the term used to be metaphorical, but these are modern times. I'm going to call in chief whip. Sore, but compliant. There is much shuffling on the back benches tonight. A few torn bits of clothing, but everyone comes to order on your command. They cheer when called on. They boo loud enough to drown out any opposition. You own the House this evening. Got him. Current polls indicate that only a fifth of Parliament supports your bill. A fifth. It's better than a tenth, and better than none. Intimidate the backbenchers. They squabble so. Let them put their voices to good use. Laying down the law. A careful series of threats and bribes does your dirty work better than you could have hoped. The yapping hordes eat up your words and agree to support you. Alone, they may not be enough to push your agenda through, but it certainly won't help. Hurt, I meant to say, not help. Current polls indicate that only a third of Parliament supports your bill. Well, patootie. Dig up dirt on a rival MP. We've gotten to that stage, have we? Okay. An ambitious orator has set his sights on you. He must be dealt with. A masterful moral assassination. The clerks of your ministry come through with style. You just have to wait for a quiet moment with a fellow, where as a friend you persuade him that another, most uncivilized MP, is about to release details of his recent visit to Magdalen's. He leaves in a hurry. Someone just got done with the Cardinal, am I right? In reference to Cardinal Pell in Australia. God damn it, man. I wish I didn't have to joke about that. Conduct a survey of the protesters outside. Carefully selecting the questions should produce the right answers. An effortless sweep. With the help of your attractive staff, scrubbed up and pushed in suits they will never be able to afford, you put the key questions to the protesters outside. No one wants to disappoint the attractive, smiling people in front of them, and you receive the answers your questions demand. Your current poll indicates that more than half of the Parliament currently supports your bill. Take the new law before the House. You've done all you can. It's time to put it to the vote. And it's a 60% chance. Failure! Fuck you. This is politics for you. Voted down. Despite your efforts, you are unable to convince the House to rubber stamp your bill. As everyone files out in search of drinks, you see one of the first secretary's clerks waiting for you in the corridor. She shakes her head, conveying her superior's disappointment. Ask about the will of the people. How do you begin making a new law? I probably should have asked that before I attempted to pass a bill. Democracy in action. A simple matter, Minister, oozes the loquacious civil servant. Those around Albion territory, which is to say Albion herself, and the more civilized corners of the Reach, will often present themselves upon your arrival with their problems and little requests. Listen, return here, and your humble servants will put the wheels of government into motion. Yeah, goodbye. Fuck you, Parliament. I'm off. Undock. Wow, what a riveting episode. It's like John Wick 3. If John Wick was a geriatric in an old folks' home, and he didn't do any fighting, and his dog was never killed, and he never, ever was named John Wick, the Baba Yaga. In fact, it's like John Wick if John Wick was not John Wick, but an accountant. It's that fascinating. He has the tenacity of a politician. Maybe he could pass a bill. London certainly does look better, doesn't it? Oh. Can we dock here? Hello, my friend. Oh. Yeah, you're already parked here. That's alright, that's alright. Oh, that's alright, that's alright. We'll find another spot then. It's like university parking. Just keep going. Tail someone like you're a predator, and eventually they will lead you to their parked car. Damn, London looks fine now. So much detail. Welcome to the updated London. Ambition, find your missing friend. Staunch Sergeant did not come to your arranged meeting. Ambition, find your missing friend. The Staunch Sergeant did not come to your arranged meeting. Something is wrong. Seasoned Captain said she was spending most of her time in London. She must have lodgings here. Speak to mutual acquaintances. You'll need to reacquaint yourself with a number of people you have also lost contact with. Kindling. You focus your efforts on the veterans' clubs and hospitals, where old soldiers trade stories of old wars. No one has seen your friend in some time, and not at all since the fire. The fire. Apparently there was a fire in the building where she rented rooms. No bodies were found, but she hasn't been seen since. You are able to secure that address. Ambition, a mysterious fire. The building your friend lived in was a narrow lodging house divided into too many apartments. Now it is a blackened husk, still standing only because it's wedged up between houses on either side. The constabulary have boarded it up. A pair of homeless gentlemen occupying the opposite doorway are happy to tell you about it.
We saw it. They said it was a gas fire. Burned blue, didn't it, George? Oh, says George. Blue.
Search the ruin. You understand that your friend lived in the garret. Prying aside the boards, you enter. The fire stink claws at your throat. Thin stairs, wrapped and blackened, lead upwards. But when you set foot on the first step, it collapses. You are forced to inch up, testing each one as you go. The roof has collapsed, exposing the garret to the air. Blackened beams jut like ribs from a slew of tumbled tiles. Search the ruin. But carefully, the building's shell groans in the slightest wind. Pieces of the puzzle. You unearth a few burned pages from the rubble. None are untouched by the fire, and many are blotted by rain. But you managed to pick out a handful of gnomic phrases.
Been gnomed.
Constellations and conjunctions. Chrysanthemum. Amaranthine. Nepentine. Liberation. Meg, the fire that follows. The Courtesy's bloodhound. King of Hours, Green Regent. Consult the rolls of ash. The started one has the bedeviled Didact's name written at the top. If Meg is Spatchcocker, Meg. That's two of your acquaintances from the Promise of Days named in these papers. Is this the important work that we're helping the Staunch Sergeant with? It's time they talked to you. Okay, looks like we're going back to New Winchester. So, we're going to explore the last places around London. Then we're going to call it quits for here. And next episode, we are going to head to the New Winchester and then explore the Blue Horizon. Or the other place. I don't know what the other place is, but I've heard it's delightful and fun for the whole family. If you want to see me do a particular place, vote for it in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. I upload Sunless Skies somewhere between Friday and Sunday. I upload Sunless Skies between Friday and Sunday. I also do RimWorld Mondays to Wednesdays. And I'll do random other vids whenever I feel like it. It looks like this might be the Sunless Sea. Oh, wouldn't that be something? Oh. It is late, and you alone. Doubts prey on you. Okay, let's go. The full biscuit. You're developing a taste for the bottle. Oh god. It begins. When I said I wanted port, that is not what I meant. I meant like a port and not a bottle of port. Please do not scribe spinster. I came thus far with intentions of goodness in my heart. In the Home Office, the Avid Horizon consists of 3 parts. The Home Office, clinging to a pillar of ice, the gate through which Londoners entered the sky, flanked by its towering statues, and the quiet sea, whose waters are home to those left behind. Approaching the Avid Horizon, the very edge of the high wilderness. The border between now and then, here and there, the skies and earth. The few lonely buildings of the port face the great gate of the Avid Horizon. Bordered by 2 vast winged statues, the gate towers over the shrouded sea that divides the port and the gate. The other side of the gate opens far beneath the earth, on the bleak shore of a subterranean sea. Call back to Sunless Skies, anyone? London rests there for a while Her Majesty was indisposed with grief. A handful of years ago, though, she laid an exodus of Londoners through the Avid Horizon and into the sky. You were among them. Do you remember how you came to this place? A memory of duty. Her renewed Majesty needed soldiers to build her empire. Whatever your private feelings were, you were Her Majesty's soldier. She commanded, and your regiment obeyed. North. Some of you were veterans of the very short-lived and hastily forgotten war against hell. Others were fresh-faced and untested. Some craved plunder, having heard of vaults brimming with the currencies of heaven. Some wanted conquest and a new verdant land to make a home in. Some sought honor or redemption or release. Weeks later, through the northern ice and dark beneath the world, you reached the gate. Its statues loomed like giants. The door was open, and the space within was filled with suns and stars and light. The Home Office occupies a stately, albeit crumbling, manor house on the edge of an icy precipice high above the quiet sea. Once, thousands passed through its elegant halls on their way into Albion. The gate is closed now, though, and has been for over a year. No one comes through, and no one leaves. Now only a skeleton crew staffs it, and only a handful of incomers remain stuck here, waiting for pardons or permissions that never came. Her renewed Majesty has a long memory. Drop off the devil. Can I replace you? Officers, off you get. Enjoy yourself. The start of something memorable. The devil bows as he departs your engine. I promise you that I will not regret this, he says as he opens the doors to the bureau. He hands the acting senior prohibitor his hat. Take this, will you? He looks about him with a cool glare. There are going to be some changes around here. The door swings shut behind him. Talk to the devil. The devil has intimated he has improvements in mind for the Home Bureau. He is not concerned about the objections of current staff and has requested shore leave to put his plans into motion. This place, he tells you, sipping a cocktail of honey and wine, is a testament to the folly of honest work. I intend to prove it. The merry devil. The air is heavy with smoke and absinthe fumes. The detainees and the office workers are lost in a fog of booze and narcotics. The devil reclines on a couch, smiling. Just an experiment. I have a few requests. I've sent them to London. Things we could do with here to keep everything flowing nicely. In time, we might have a few things here that you could buy. Wouldn't that be nice? Ooh. Present yourself at the Home Office. Inquire about the sea. How can there be a sea in the sky? Sunlit sea. A satisfactory scientific answer has yet to be presented. Theories have sprouted like mushrooms in its place. Some say that when the gate was opened, the undersea spilled through, filling the sky like a leaky tap fills a sink, until Her Majesty's government was able to plug it. Others believe the sea to be variously the effluvia of the murdered sun, amniotic fluid to support the generation of a new sun, the vault of the Royal Society, an industrial accident covered up by one of the work worlds, the tears of Her Renewed Majesty for her dead prince. To reach the sea now, one must travel to the stair to the sea, along the ice shelf from the Home Office. Present yourself at the Home Office. Protocol is everything when it comes to dealing with London's bureaucracy, even at this outpost, especially at this outpost. To all things, a place. The acting senior probator is responsible for monitoring all those trapped at the Home Office, the detainees forbidden entry to Albion with no way back through the gate. He sits behind a little desk in the echoing hallway of the manor. He keeps 3 things on his desk: a wind-up clock and 2 battered mugs. He surveys you coolly.
You're welcome to take a look around, though we have precious little in the ways of diversion. Have you been out to the flotilla? Must ask you not to pay too much attention to the cultists. And if you have not, I'd recommend staying away. For good reasons they were never allowed into Albion.
Entertain a request from the acting senior probator. He's watching you from behind his desk and biting his lower lip. Clearly he has something on his mind. He does not look happy. A regrettable duty.
So good you're here, Captain.
He clasps your hand.
His skin is cold. I've been issued an imperial pardon from London from one of our detainees here.
He looks at the 3 nearest guests of the Home Office, who are following the conversation intently.
That's the one, mind. Procedure demands that someone cannot be pardoned without an independent witness vouching for them. It would be highly inappropriate for me to do so.
He gives you a beseeching look.
If you would help to speak to them, those 3, return to me when you've made your choice.
Ooh. Deal with the probator's request. You may interview the detainees and follow up on their stories before you've come to the decision. The 3 detainees singled out by the acting senior probator have taken over one of the interview rooms. The aristocrat is contorted like a contented cat over a rumpled armchair. The courtier sits on the windowsill, a cup of tea rattling in her hands. The nun occupies a stiff-backed chair and is reading something decidedly ungodly. Alright, interview the former courtier. Brilliant, magnetic, merciless, infuriating. Either her personality or her politics have kept her on Her Majesty's list of undesirables. Yes, I do know that feeling. I just tried to pass a bill and no one would do it. I feel the same pain as you, who's been abandoned in this wasteland for years. Friends in high places. She shuts a small hand mirror as you approach.
Rain, I had a lovely maid when I arrived here. Red as June, they used to say. Was hoping to see the suns, but I suppose the palace hasn't forgotten. At MP, I am acquainted with Haddon, promised it was all water under the bridge.
Oh. Interview the handsome aristocrat. He is draped listlessly over a faded chair, occasionally playing with his hair. This guy's not getting out. Question of birthright. He summons a dazzling smile as you approach.
Oh, at last, my captain. May I call you my captain?
He does not wait for a response.
It's been a dreadful mix-up. I have a twin brother in London, you see. Terrible sort. Rather ruined my reputation with Her Majesty.
Well, looks like you're not getting out. Unless, you could do me some favours under the table. I'm not talking about handy, I'm talking about money, you sick fuck. Interview the nun. Surely she shouldn't be here. She lights another cigarette as you watch her. Waiting sisters. She looks down her cigarette at you and sighs.
If I could have gone home by now, I would have. I think it's worth this much bloody waiting, pardon my imperial. I was going to stay in a convent in the mausoleum, but that's been buggered now.
The decision is the most obvious one I've ever made in my life. So my name is none. So we're going to favour the courtier. Her spirits might recover if she leaves this place. A return to court. Her eyes widen as you announce her decision. She bounces from her seat to embrace you.
Oh, for the second time in my life, Captain, I'm willing to say, sod decorum.
The aristocrat pales and fixes you with a gaze as murderous as any dark and midnight hag. The nun merely lights up again. The acting senior probator thanks you profusely before handing the former courtier her imperial pardon.
Cryptic benefactor, that's some bullshit.
At least I got money. Watch the quiet sea. The grey glass windows at the south of the office look out on the misty waters. There's precious little else to do here. Fading light. Peering into the wisps of white mists that dance around the shrouded sea, you can make out a few boats drifting towards the gate. Its statues are hidden, aside from a few pinpricks of light dancing near their crowns. Below the office, the shoreline is clogged with rotted flowers and ruined offerings for the cultists that live on the sea. Perhaps they were rejected. Perhaps they were never received. Take tea. There's always time here. The Home Office supplements its meagre funds with a haphazard tea room, open for the occasional visitor.
A good brew. What, $30? What, are you mad? It's not at all.
I could pay just as much for therapy at Magdalene's. Probably less, mind you. $30 Christ. A good brew. Steeped and stewed, the tea has lingered in the Home Office for a very long time. An elderly detainee leans in conspiratorially.
Much better than a few years back. It's improved with age, matured.
The detainee is quickly shuffled away so that you can enjoy your tea in peace.
$30.
Looks like we're not coming back here. Stare to the sea. Oh, they've split it into two areas. I see. Get it? See? It's a double entendre. The quiet sea. The stare to the sea. A narrow ledge is lodged into the ice here. A stair thin as a shaft of starlight plunges into the mists below. This is the stairway down to the flotilla, a makeshift raft of broken and abandoned ships, home to the similarly broken and abandoned. All came through the Avid Horizon but were forbidden for legal reasons from entering Albion. The nearby Home Office keeps them detained here. Left thus to their own devices, they have formed cults. Descend the stairs. Board the flotilla. It's considered polite to bring an offering, food or fuel for preference, but anything that can be eaten or burnt for warmth would suffice. How about human beings? Do you take them? We've got a surplus of them at the moment. Down into a sunless sea. The winds rattle the iron railings as though trying to throw you from the stair into the churning sea hundreds of feet below. You cleave hard to the block of ice, a chill on your cheek as you make the slow descent. Your fingers are thoroughly frozen by the time you reach the bottom and stand on the rusted iron platform that marks the beginning of the flotilla. The sea all around is shrouded in rolling mist. You can make out boats nearby, bobbing forlornly in the freezing water. Some are roped together, others are set apart. Lights speckle the water. Cultists still dwell in at least some of the old steamships. This platform is deathly silent, however. No one is here to greet you. Once thousands spilled through from the world you left behind. Now it is half submerged, and there have been no newcomers in more than a year. Your crew plead with you to stay. Success! Oh fuck. That's a lot of terror. On the sunless sea, the air is still and frigid. Your teeth chatter, ice flows drift by in the mists. The gate is far from the flotilla. Your breath freezes in the air. A little craft loosely moored to the rest appears serviceable. Oars nest in the berth. You cut the rope and jump in, pushing out into the mist. The gate rises like a sepulchre. Its statues, twin coiled figures, raise their wings on an arch. The gate between these statues is Gant, the colour that remains when all other colours are devoured. It is sealed, sarcophagus tight. When you touch it, it sears your fingers with bitterest cold. It will not open for you. This is the end of the sky. You can go no further. That was a dumb thing to do. That's a lot of terror. Guess I'll just have to drink more wine. Leave an offering. The sea is peopled with the forgotten and abandoned. It is customary to leave an offering at the flotilla for help, for hope, for home. Perhaps someone will come to collect it. At the height of its power, the Home Office processed tens of thousands of petitioners seeking entry to Albion. Some were rejected or left to seek appeals or help from Albion, caught in limbo between the office and the gate. Here at the edge of the horizon, in the shadow of the winged statues, detainees leave offerings, prayers and messages to the world left behind, supplications to the cultists that dwell on the quiet sea. What will you leave behind? Food, fuel, a body. Gold, bitches. Got that money, 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 money. A body. You take a bland stoker out alone, away from the rest. There is pleading, but there have been many pleas in this place. It is swift, swifter than starvation or madness. The body sinks like a stone. A few brief eddies interrupt the water. You return alone. You can see the eyes of your crew in their reflections in the waves. Look, my crew can judge me all I like, but I made the most practical decision possible. Crew are like a dime a dozen. I can pay like $2 for them at the port. And fuel is not, and supplies are not. Don't you look at me like that. A voice in the mist. A figure in a soaked oilskin steps out of the mists. We noted your sacrifice. A slim woman lowers her mask to gaze upon you. Her expression is stark. I permitted myself a brief indulgence, hoping that you would join us. I admired your offering. My friends and I would like to extend an invitation. We are the displeased. With us you will find hardship, sorrow, and the only truth there is. The displeased. So, are you the group who's played Anthem? She hesitates. There are certain rituals you will need to pass, and there's someone you should meet. Accept and be greeted. Of course. That body has to go towards some kind of purpose. The careful masquerader is keen for you to meet someone of her acquaintance. Oh, this is bad for my horror. The beginnings of torment. She shakes your hand and guides you to a rope ladder descending into the mists. You can make out old ships and boats roped together, lights dance across the wrecks. We have been forced to share in order to survive, the careful masquerader says as you descend. It is a precarious situation. At the bottom, rotting gangplanks make their way out to a flotilla of roped boats. Before them is a single lantern fixed to a pole. Tied to the pole is the decomposing body of your unfortunate crewman. Don't you guilt-trip me, motherfucker. I pay my wages. Pleased to be reacquainted. One betrayal demands answer of another. The careful masquerader holds up the jaws so you can better see into his eyes. Come along. There's more to learn. Here among the abandoned boats on the quiet sea, the similarly abandoned and forgotten of Albion have made their homes. The cults share this space for warmth and for shelter. Some boats are covered, others converted into makeshift anchorages, refectories, and cells. Hopeful acolytes flock to one ecstatic figure or another, raving about this doctrine or that. Your new friends are one cult among three. Sanctified, the loose collection of souls who follow the jolly anchorite are communal, fraternal, jovial. The supralapsarians, who follow the illuminating archivist, do everything by their book, when they can agree upon the interpretation. The displeased treat distrust as a virtue and betrayal as a sacrament. A woman is lying on a wheel that sits atop a pole that rises over the flotilla. She does not speak, but only watches the gate. Speak to the silent mystic. Her wheel is accessible by a flimsy rope ladder rising up through the mists. She is rarely disturbed by the other acolytes, though they watch her intently. The woman lies in the wheel, her eyes on the looming shadows of the gate. She does not bother to look your way as you reach the top of the ladder. Rotting fruits, dried flowers, and tarnished nameplates lie ignored at the edge of the wheel. Attempt to speak to her. You are new here. Perhaps you'll find that interesting. Lose your mind. Join a cult. She rolls back her head to gaze at you. Her mouth twitches downward. Her hand lolls listlessly in your direction. I do not sense the hunger of the true ascetic in you. Where the name? The knife? Where the book? Begone and not waste my time. Her eyes roll back. Return when you have learned something. If one of the cults claim you as their own full initiate, then I might be interested in speaking to you. Oh, right. Speak to me when you're popular. Thanks. I will not. Where will you lay your head at night? Speak with the careful masquerader. The apparent leader of the displeased. She invited you here to learn of the mysteries of her sect. Has she more for you? She roosts in an abandoned steamer at the edge of the flotilla. Her cabin is parodically Spartan. A battered wooden mask lies forlornly on the floor. Her one concession to comfort is an open fire. She's lounging at a porthole. You want to know more. All who came to the Horizon end in our ranks eventually. Only we have learned its true lessons. Okay, cool. I'm gonna leave now. Return to the flotilla. You have been miserable enough. Where will you lay your head at night? Every acolyte has a favoured spot in the flotilla to take their kip. The politics of one's sleeping arrangements are complicated here. It's a good thing that I did that one bill in politics that did not pass. I understand politics perfectly. Because you were selected by one of the leaders of the mystics to uncover their sacred mysteries, you may sleep where you like. Everyone is eager to see what you choose. There isn't much to do here. Cozy berth, a crow's nest. I think I'm going to do this one because it sounds edgy. It sounds like the thing you'd pick up at Hot Topic. You know, get the goth makeup on, the eyeliner. And that's exactly what they're looking for. A crow's nest, a lonely eyrie, far above the mists. You are strengthened by solitude. After a brief moment of awkwardness, one of the displeased climbs into the nest, sees you, and then immediately descends into some mists again. You spend a chilly and undisturbed evening alone. Sing. On rising there is singing. For some, a morning chorus, for others a lament. Lungs swell. The flotilla's dwellings are made of broken boats and battered carpentry. Mists, luminous and sinuous, snake through the gaps. Voices carry on the breeze. Each could be just beside you, or stood on a distant deck. Here there are no echoes, and the sky swallows old songs. All sing nonetheless. What do you sing of? Of the place you left behind? Nope. Of loss? Yes. There is much to sing of. I'm gonna sing some Linkin Park, and then the goth boys will love me. Your voice is raw and hoarse. Not sure there's a tune, but there is an abundance of feeling. Private torments carry on the wind, harmonizing with your own. Give a confession. At this hour, the acolytes purge themselves of their sins. Confessions are to be given and to be received. You are expected to take part. The acolyte smiles as you kneel in front of her. A bowl of salt water is between you. You do not speak to each other, but to the water, which will drown your secrets. Your eyes meet in the bowl. Her smile widens in encouragement. An air of yearning, an air of despair. What hope is there left to you? The acolyte takes your hand in hers. Her skin is wrinkled and soft.
There was despair when they came to that place, but it was in error, for the saints thrived. Look at us now without them. We follow their path. One day we too shall be free of it.
She leans in to whisper her own confession to the bowl. You have pleased the sanctified. Okay, that's all it takes. What will you do with the confession you've heard? What will you do with the confession you've heard? This is the hour in which the acolytes decide what to do with their confessions. I'm a betrayer. The supralapsarians have elaborate rituals surrounding confessions. The other acolytes have mimicked their example and used this hour to keep or betray the confessions they recently heard. Whatever you do here may already have been done to you. You two-faced bitch. Betray it. A secret given only has power if used. Locate the person most invested in hearing the confession and reveal it. They react strongly. Gossip and recrimination ignites across the flotilla. Faces redden. Arguments break out. No one seems to remember that you were the source. Dine at the feast. At the end of the day, the acolytes gather for a feast. If you were cynical, you might suggest this was the only reason the sects banded together. Makeshift tables are laid with the fruits of the quiet sea. Some acolytes have spent their days on the waves, fishing, for whatever blind, writhing things count as fish here. Others forage for preserved food from the forgotten ships. Among engine wrecks and refuse of the Bureau, wisely rationed, there is enough for one such feast every week or so. How will you dine? With restraint, you will master your desires. All around you, supralapsarians and sanctified gorge themselves on hard biscuits and eel flesh, stuffing their mouths with stolen wine and plundered meat. You will not partake. Your stomach growls, betrayed. Attend a last rite. As the other cultists are departing, your acquaintance among the displeased bid you join them. They warn you not to hope for a reward. But they give you a reward anyway. An unhappiness of poetry. You're brought to an abandoned cabin, mired in floes of ice and adrift from the rest of the flotilla. You're bidden to take a seat amid a circle of chairs. In the centre is the silent mystic, tied to a chair. It's very kinky. I like it.
The displeased have followed the observance as well, she explains. So I've agreed to submit to one of their rites.
She waves a hand.
Do go on, dear. Tell me what matter of fool now rules in my old halls.
It is poetry of the celestial school, beloved of Her Majesty's court. It is sublime and dreadful. Once the reading is over, the leader of this pleased insists you take the slim volume of poetry.
It will not bring you joy,
she insists. Good. Away! Well, that was a fun little interlude, wasn't it? We joined a cult. We met some new friends. We killed our friend for the sake of a few dollars. But you know, I'm feeling good. Losing supplies. Well of the Wolf. Approaching the Well of the Wolf. A hole in the sky. Torrents of celestial mist pour into it. Shelves of black ice poke from its throat. One of these shelves extends over the well mouth in a narrow spur. At its end stands a pitted cast iron bandstand. And descend through the gale and land on a shelf of ice. The whirlwind bays like a dog refusing to leave its master's grave. You, your driver, wrestles the rising winds. Terror, great. Descent, your engine bucks like a dying pig, its hull groans, gritty black particulate clatters at the windows. With the last lurch, your locomotive crunches onto the grimy ice. The driver exhales. A good landing. Not a gentle one. When you emerge from your engine, the wind pushes at you like a schoolyard bully. Cold bites. Beyond the lip of black permafrost, the well-mouth gapes wide enough to swallow worlds. Away from the edge, a cluster of hexagonal cave mouths perforate an icy cliff face. The yellow eyes of devils gleam inside them. Speak to the congregate of devils. They emerge, curious from their caves. Once they were dapper in pinstripe or delicate in a brocade. Now they wear rags. Their brocade has frayed. Their pinstripe faded to a porridgy grey. New voices. You ask about their new lives here. Silence. When you persist, one steps forward and opens his mouth as wide as he can. Plain song emerges, sweet with a sonorous drone. The devil's lips and tongue aren't moving. The song is coming from deeper in his throat. You stand on tiptoes. The devil leans obligingly forward. You peer past his tongue, his tonsils, his gullet, and see a large compound eye, insectoid, iridescent, peering back at you from his chest cavity. The devil steps back. That is all for now, it seems. Approach a stone idol. A large fragment of skyrock has fallen here. It has been graven by the wind or by long-forgotten tools into a bulbous shape, perforated by holes of different sizes. It moans. It whistles. The shapeless idol looms over you. Someone has scratched jagged teeth around each of its holes, transforming them into many, many mouths. A heavy hook is affixed into the stone, just higher than you can reach, while at the base of the idol, 2 depressions have been dug into the ice. The first holds a knout, with hooks knotted into its thongs. The second holds a buckled strap of something like leather. A knack to the right of the rack. Around the second depression, someone has cut the words "hang" and "give voice" into the ice. You can guess what you must do. Nope. Bad idea. Approach the bandstand. A spur of ice juts precipitously over the well. At the end of it sits a bandstand worn by the wind. There the devils sing their hymns. The journey to the bandstand is bleak and exposed. The well waits on either side. If you look down, you imagine movement in its caliginous depths. The temptation wells in you to fling yourself on the ice and into the abysm. You avert your eyes, quickly, swiftly. There is actually a French term for this. Cold to the void is what it is in English. It's where you just get the desire, and you're looking over the edge of a boat that you're driving on and think, I'm gonna do it. That's a really dumb idea, but I'm gonna do it. And then you come to your senses and say, wow, did I ever really consider that? What is wrong with me? And that's cold to the void for you. It happens to the best of us. The thing in the well begins to howl, and the winds scurry in search of kinder spaces. It is a hollow, keening sound, the distress of something that can't believe it still has no more to lose. The ice groans miserably. Watch a well song. The devils struggle out in their wasted finery, out into the teeth of the wind. In a trudging line, they make their way to the bandstand. Reunion. The devils mount the bandstand and begin to sing. Their lips are motionless, their mouths hang slackly open. Buzzing plain song pours from their throats. The notes are scattered across the scale, creating only a tenuous harmony. Slowly they begin to shuffle in what might be a dance. Its movements are performed only with feet. Are they drawing an alphabet? Hieroglyphs? The well's wails drown them out, but they persist. After some time the well begins to waver. The wind slackens. Slowly, over the course of another hour, the well returns to quiescence. The devils, wearied, go back to their caves. Oh, yes, I'm going to give you 2 of the rarest items in the game to decipher a little bit of the language. It's a good idea. Maybe I could buy a timeshare while I'm at it. Maybe I could buy all the timeshares while I'm at it. Investigate the bandstand. The bandstand is deserted. The well, relatively quiet. Waiting. The bandstand is made from cast iron, modestly caulked and pitted by the harsh weather. You find the manufacturer's mark and date. The components were wrought in the promised days, just after London arrived in the heavens. While inspecting it, you feel the weight of the numberless fathoms below you. They pull at you. Perhaps as a child you dropped a stone down a less terrible well. Perhaps you listened for the sound of it striking the bottom. Now you imagine yourself as the stone, falling and falling. There is something inside the well. Whatever it is, the devils would like it gone. Please. Hey, we got him. A new friend. The devils trail you to the lip of the well, their faces weighted with expectation. Something is yowling plaintively from the abyss, something mortal and odiously off-key. You go on your stomach and lean over the edge, a hand thrust into the void. For moments, there is nothing. Nothing but the noise. Nothing but the cold and the sense you've profaned something sacred. Then your fingers brush against fur. With considerable effort, you exact a round belly, snaggle-toothed, long-clawed lump of a cat. The devils are relieved at your success and insist you depart with the agreed feline as soon as possible, right now. I get it, boys, I'm going. Farewell! Get it? Farewell? Dads around the world, unite. Fight with me, brothers. We need to bring back the dad jokes. They were always in style. People just didn't know it. The morning room. We did it. We did it, folks. We found the last spot on the map, boss. Arriving at Perdurance. On approach, Perdurance looks like an opulent mansion caught partway through a genteel explosion. Each constituent set of rooms accounted for, but separate and out of place. Each is connected in a rough circle by narrow, winding passages. The steep roofs are topped with shingled turrets and precarious towers. The elegantly disassembled country house perches on top of a soot-stained windowless factory whose chimney belches gouts of smoke and fire. Into the parlour. The docks face a set of polished oak doors carved with a series of masked figures dancing the quadrille. The windows in the parlour are shuttered, the lights stained with pale yellows, blushing pinks and bruised violets, lit with the illusion of dawn, or perhaps dusk. You see a room cluttered with stiff-backed armchairs and decorative chaises, set against savagely floral wallpaper in shades of burgundy, violet, and Brunswick green. A portrait of the Empress, unsmiling, hangs in an ornate gilt frame. A few visitors mill about, casting speculative glances at the exasperated butler, while they pretend to examine the decor. Talk to the exasperated butler. He appraises you with an officious disapproval that testifies to years of devoted training.
Yes, and?
He demands. He leaves through a leather-covered logbook to make clear that he is, in fact, terribly busy. Inquire about the nature of Perdurance. What is this place? Introductions, he sighs.
This is Perdurance, the home of the half-light mask. Here Her Majesty has created a single perfect day when the finest example of the Empire's youth may reside for all time. At the day's end there is a grand ball. When it is over, the day is spun anew with fresh hours, and all begins again. No one who resides here will age even a single day. Visitors are permitted, of course, relatives and a select few others, as long as they have an invitation, he says, pointedly. Ask about getting an invitation to the Half-Light Mask. How does one get in exactly? A select few. If one must ask how to obtain an invitation, one probably shouldn't have it. Typically, they are granted to the relatives of residents. However, the Ministry of Public Decency may award invitations to those who have served the Empire. We also receive an unusual number of visitors from the Royal Society. The invitation permits the bearer entry to a single instance of the mask, from morning to evening.
You thank him, but he clearly wishes to impress upon you the grandeur of the matter.
It is a great honor to be invited here, and an even greater one to be rewarded with residence. The Empress is most generous with her favored servants.
He gives you a sharp look and adds,
and we are all here servants, are we not?
Ask about the debutantes. Who is permitted to reside here?
Why, they are the sons and daughters of Her Majesty's most valued and most trusted counsellors and confidants. The residents want for nothing. They need fear nothing. They will not grow old, or know their care or worry. They will be preserved forever in the flower of their youth and innocence. These are the gifts that Her renewed Majesty is to grant.
Oh, so this is where they've kept Walt Disney all this time. I mean, there was the myth that they just froze his head cryogenically so that it could be reattached at a later date. They just sent him to Perdurance, man. Can the debutantes leave? He has been suspiciously silent on that score.
Why on earth would they want to do that? To do so would seem remarkably ungrateful.
Who chooses the debutantes, and according to what criteria?
Very due majesty, of course. She chooses them herself from among the children of her most beloved advisers and agents. This is the reward for service. Immortality and luxury for one's issue. Could there be anything better?
Bid him goodbye.
Goodbye,
He says in tones of one who has been relieved of a terrible burden. Hand your invitation to the exasperated butler and join the half-light mask. How do I get my invitation?
Oh, well, you just do this and this and this, and it's only awarded to great people.
Well, here are 3 of them.
Oh.
Through the Empress, straight on till morning. The portrait of the Empress swings open and a succession of brightly dressed debutantes, sour-faced chaperones, and prim servants stumbled into the parlour. They barely have a moment to rest their feet and take a sip of tea before a panel of wallpaper slides open, the dark moor of a sharply curving passage just visible in the dawn light. The exasperated butler snatches the invitation from your hands.
Remember, your invitation only lasts 1 day.
It is a warning, but sounds a little wistful. He propels you forward to join the court in its procession. You emerge a little tender in the morning. The morning room is a grander version of the parlour, presided over by the Oriette Duchess in her pink and purple silks. Dowagers of varying stateliness and of aplomb take tea and converse in low tones. Other debutantes reply to correspondence, writing notes in elegant script and affixing them with sealing wax. Meanwhile, chaperones give orders to the servants and see to Perdurance's household accounts. The light is a flushed yellow, autumnly ripe. Find the presumptuous heiress. She must be here somewhere, but can you find her? The macabre counsellor commissioned you to find her and free her daughter in the last episode. Put in the annotations below if you want to check it out, just saying. First, you'll need to find her among the debutantes. Search the dining hall. The macabre counsellor provides you with a fulsome description. Charm the debutantes, charm the chaperones, charm the servants. Well, if you insist that I be a fence-sitter, I've been a politician my entire life. Charm the chaperones. They cluster around the debutantes, watching over them with a habitually pinched expression. Somehow reduced. The chaperones are not used to visitors taking interest in them. They are usually passed over in favour of their more elegantly appointed cousins. And indeed, many of them are literal cousins, either impoverished or somehow reduced in society's eyes due to a scandal or unfortunate connections. All are past the age of marriage and, at least as far as society is concerned, the age of temptation, and are therefore fit companions to ensure the debutante's dubious chastity. But at the end of your conversation, their expressions have relaxed from pinched to merely sour. Move onwards. One of the dowager duchesses rings a bell. Conversation halts with practiced suddenness. Morning is over. Through the darkness, everyone arrays themselves in a procession according to their station. The dowager duchesses at the front, debutantes just behind, then chaperones and visitors and their servants bringing up the rear. There is much jostling for position within each group, according to the rules that you cannot begin to fathom. You enter the narrow and twisting passage, stumbling in the enveloping darkness as the debutantes giggle and shout. With each step, the shrieks of hours being spun backwards resonates through your body, leaving you shaking and worn. You emerge blinking into the dazzle of afternoon. Here the curtains are pulled back with tasseled ropes, allowing the clockwork sun to spill its stark glow into the dining room. The long table is set with rows of gleaming china dinner plates, patterned with delicate florals. Silver cutlery, polished to a high shine, gleams atop a pristine tablecloth. Servants pour endless glasses of watered wine or carry in the next in a stream of elaborate dishes. Find the presumptuous heiress. She must be somewhere, but can you find her? Failure. And that's the story of our lives. Thwarted. It's so hard to tell with these debutantes apart. Similar hair, similar makeup, similar manners, same guffaws and giggles, every one of them resplendent in distracting finery. The heiress must be here somewhere, but you can't find her. Perhaps you can try again another time. Move onwards. A dowager duchess gives a small nod, and the entire company rises as one. Twisting and turning, a passage opens behind the china cabinet, and the procession forms once more. You take a breath and step into the close, stifling darkness, trying not to fall behind as the passage contorts and coils. With each step, the shrieks of hours being spun backwards resonates through your body, leaving you shaking and worn. You spot a figure masked in a featureless black, her face covered by a smooth oval of polished obsidian. Who are they? It is an enormous relief to spill out into the evening at the grand ballroom. Everyone finds their place without a murmur, and courtly life is resumed, almost as though the terrors you just experienced never existed. Hanging from the grand ballroom ceiling is a vast ormolu gasolier, its spidery arms decked with cut crystal drops. It casts soft yellow brightness onto the masked dancers below as they whirl across the polished parquet floor. Music blends with the hum of genteel conversation and the stiff swish of starched crinolines. The half-light mask is in full swing. There is barely room to stand, much less to move. Charm the servants, assist the chaperones. The chaperones wear drab versions of the debutantes' masks, animals patterned in shades of brown and grey. They prowl the bowl, ensuring that no one is getting too friendly. Partial six. Fuck. You happen to be nearby when one of the debutantes is caught beneath a table with servant. Doing? As the chaperones are berating them, you realize how mortified the lovers are at being caught in such deshabille. You shrug off an outer layer and offer it to the debutante, and simply put, they have more dignity to lose. The debutante accepts your garment gratefully and strategically positions it. They give a tight-lipped, nearly smile. They won't forget this. Move onwards. The music stops. Somewhere below, a mechanical rumble can be heard as the hour looms, begins spinning Perdurance's one perfect, perpetual day all over again. The half-light mask is over. One of the blacked-out ballroom windows opens to reveal the passage back to the parlour at dusk, or perhaps at dawn. The keening of the hours as they are spun backwards makes your legs weak and your heart pound. You feel unaccountably wearied, as if you've spent like 5 hours trying to find this fucking place on the map, and you can't fucking find it. You spot a figure masked in a featureless black, their face covered by a smooth oval of polished obsidian. Who are they? You enter the parlour through the portrait of the Empress and limp away, sore-footed from dancing and stumbling through the dark. Behind you, the members of the court of Perdurance chatter and take tea, and make ready to begin their day anew. For tonight, and every night thereafter, is the half-light mask. Time of Perdurance is an end. The procession emerges from the dark passageway into the dusky, or perhaps dawny, light of the parlour. Somewhere below, Perdurance's hours loom, labour to reweave its perfect day. Soon the sleepless debutantes will begin its morning anew, but first, someone approaches. One of the debutantes would like a word. It appears you made an impression on the gleaming residents of Perdurance. Popularity. They do hope you'll return soon. Even a day as impeccably engineered and artfully arranged as the one at Perdurance can grow wearing unless seasoned with the occasional newness. You live richer in gossip and soothed by the distractions of the high-light mask. The terror has fallen, and we've just about leveled up. So we could finish this quest, but I think we're going to leave it, actually, unless there's a high demand for it. The series has always been intended to be a kind of like light tour of Sunless Skies, where I just kind of guide you through it gently, like pushing you in the back and saying, "Here's this place. That looks nice. Don't you agree? Okay, next place. Doesn't this look nice?" But we don't actually go into depth into any of it. That's the kind of tour that I'm giving you. If you want, I will finish some of these, show you around, but this is just kind of showing you all the places that you can go to. And in the next episode, I intend to go back to New Winchester, pick up that ambition that we've been doing. Perhaps go to the Avid Horizon, the Blue Horizon, or the other place. I've not visited any of them, so it's going to be a new experience to me and to you. So that's the plan. That's the roadmap. good luck, I suppose. Thank you all for joining me. I will see you next time.